Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, as the name and the title suggests, we're going to be talking about a UK nurse who killed 7 babies and now being regarded as the country's worst serial baby killer of all times. Sad, sad, sad news. However, if it's your first time here, welcome to Empowered RN. I'm Abigail under this channel on YouTube who shares you nursing information, nursing news, nursing opportunities, anything related to nursing and a bit of lifestyle if you may like. And we share this information with you to help you to make informed choices and be exposed to opportunities that are all across the world that you may be missing out on. So if you like the content that I'm sharing with you, please like, share, and subscribe and follow for more. Now, let's get into the meat of the matter. So, it has been circulating all over the UK, in the US, all across the world with regards to a nurse who was found guilty earlier this month of convicted of killing 7 babies, not one, not two, not three, but 7 babies under her care. She has been now been turned as the country's worst serial killer. Now I got the facts of the case. Somebody, one of my subscribers, sent it to me, and I said, let me get into it and see what is happening here. So this was taken from cbsnews.com, and we're going to read about it, and then we have a discussion about it. Now, as said before, a British nurse has been found guilty of murdering 7 babies and attempting to kill 6 others at the hospital where she worked. This is Lucy Letby. She is 33 and harmed babies in her care by injecting air into their blood and stomachs, overfeeding them with milk, physically assaulting them, and poisoning them with insulin in England. In one case, she murdered a baby boy by administering air into the bloodstream, and the next day, she attempted to kill his twin brother by poisoning him with insulin. My God, this is so uncomfortable to read. Now, the court has ordered to protect the identity of the children, which would be must. Police went into her home and found handwritten notes where she wrote, I am evil and I did this. Now, she secretly attacked 13 babies on a neonatal ward in England between 2015 and 2016. Let's watch that there. 2 years. Now, she had her intention to kill the babies while allowing her colleagues to believe that this was caused by natural death and not her. Now, she also deceived her colleagues by passing off harm, as she said nothing happened more than the baby's case worsened while under her care. But worsened under her care because they were already sick before. Now, this nurse in her hands had innocuous substances like air, milk, fluids, medications like insulin, which is extremely a very serious drug. Too much or less of it can affect your blood sugar, sorry, in a splint of an eye. Now, she perverted her learning and weaponized her craft to inflict harm, grief, and death. Now, victims and families have said they may never truly know why this happened, and I'm trying to figure out why too. So in 2018 and 2019, she was arrested by the police in connection with their investigation. She was arrested again in November 2020. Now, they said in her house they found the handwritten documents, I don't deserve to live and I killed them on purpose. However, it emerged that before Letby murdered one of the child, that he started bleeding when she started trying to assault him. It was a sound that should not come from a tiny baby, the mother told the court. I can't explain what the sound was. It was horrendous, mighty God. No, a very heavy part of this is that consultants told to apologize for raising concern. Doctors at the hospital began to notice a steep rise in the number of babies who were dying unexpectedly and collapsing. But concerns raised by the consultants were over the increased mortality of patients under Letby's care were initially dismissed by the hospital's management. In 2016, Letby, that's the nurse, filed a grievance against her employers after she was relocated from the hospital's neonatal ward. She was then put back on clerical duties after two male triplets died and a baby boy collapsed 3 days in a row. Late that year, she was notified of the allegations against her by the Royal College of Nursing, but the complaint was later resolved in her favor. Doctors were asked to formally apologize to Letby in writing. She was scheduled to return to the neonatal department in March 2017, but her return did not take place. The hospital trust contacted the police, who opened an investigation. Now, the UK government has ordered an independent inquiry into the murders and including how concerns raised by the clinicians were dealt with. That's a serious part right there that I'm trying to understand too. The inquiry will probe into the circumstances surrounding the deaths and incidents. It will also evaluate what actions were taken by regulators and the British National Health Service in response to concerns that were raised against the nurse. Now, they said that justice has now been served, and the nurse who should have been caring for our babies has now been found guilty of harming them. And that was a statement from the victims' families. They said they are heartbroken, devastated, angry, and feel numb. Letby, the nurse accused of killing these 7 babies, will be sentenced to the Manchester Crown Court on August 21. My God, just reading this alone, it's uncomfortable to know that somebody tried to harm and literally got away with killing not one, not two, not three, but 7 babies. Now, I am trying to understand that 2015, 2016, this was noted under the nurse's care. What is alarming underneath this case is that consultants and doctors raised concerns against this nurse, and she put in a complaint, and the complaint was later dropped, and the doctors were asked to apologize to her. Now, Miss Letby, you clearly have blue boot. That's what we say in Jamaica. You have blue boot, sister. To climb any stairs, any step. Now, you are caring for some, as a nurse, caring for patients, and it's reported that you're doing something wrong, and doctors filed a complaint against you, and they were then asked to apologize to you. This is serious. Somebody dropped the ball internally and externally, and also the hospital administrations too. How is it that a complaint was raised and the nurse was available, was able to then this be dropped from this? She have blue boots. That's what we say back in Jamaica, where you can get away with anything and you're untouchable. I don't know if there was not sufficient evidence at the time, but if concerns were raised, why were the consultants then asked to apologize to the nurse? This is serious and it is sad. And my thing is, if consultants and doctors are the same thing, pick this up. What about the nurses that were working on the unit? Let's bring it back a bit closer to home now. Nursing is very close. We're close knitted, filled with more females than males. And anywhere you have a lot of females, there's going to be talk. I am thinking that the nurses on this unit or in surrounding the hospital, everybody must have known of this. I can bring it back a bit closer home to Jamaica. Whenever you have any incident or anywhere that you work, everybody know. The security guard know. People don't work in the office. People who clean the outside. The ancillary workers. Everybody know. The entire place or organization is aware of what is taking place because people talk. How is it this nurse not managed only to just kill one, not two, but 7 babies in 2 years as a space of time, and nothing was done to stop her in her tracks? As I said before, the nursing profession is close knitted, and we all know when we're working which nurse is strong, which nurse is incompetent. And we can also say, because you can know which nurse is incompetent, because people watch your work and say, I don't want to take patients from her because may have to do her work, all of that. Many people have even commented online to say that there have many institutions have body systems where you work closely with another nurse if you're a strong nurse or a weak nurse. So was it that nobody talked? It was revealed in the article that she tried to sway her colleague to say that it was a natural cause of death and it wasn't her. But if we bring it back closer to home, we can understand, as we said before, nursing is close. You go to work, you get a group of patients, you're going to take report from that nurse. So she's going to hand over to you. While going through everything, you should be able to pick up that something is off. This happened in over the space of 2 years, and it's a close knitted profession. People talk, people whisper, everybody knows. So if the doctors pick it up, what about the nurses? Next to that, what about the nurse managers and supervisors on that unit? Weren't they aware of this nurse's performance? Because if you're working on a unit and you're a nurse manager, you always know what is happening on a unit. And if you're a supervisor in any other profession, you hear back stuff because you always have somebody that you call the grapevine. They will go around, get information, and go and give the information to your manager or supervisor, and they are aware of what is happening. If a manager or supervisor is not on the unit, say they didn't come in today or they're on vacation, mark you, they can be at home and they hear everything that is happening on the unit. So, what steps were put in place in terms of supervision, evaluation of the nurse to see if she's underperforming? What steps you put in place to make sure that she's not causing harm or to stop her in her tracks? That's what I'm saying. Something fell short internally and externally, and this nurse clearly did have blue boot. Now we know what blue boot back is in Jamaica, meaning that you can go through any hoop, jump through any hole, or if you're an untouchable. Now, somebody commented online and even made mention to say that if this happened in Jamaica, she would have gone on and nothing would have come out of it. But before I touch that point, it goes back to show that background checks are very important, and also assessing your mental capabilities, like mental illness is real, because clearly this is somebody that may have mental illness. No, I'm not sure if many organizations have put in place measures to do background checks and also to test to see if you're mentally ill. But at the same time, we have to be careful with that, because many persons who have mental illness, they have rights too, that we have learned about, that if they're mentally ill, they still deserve to work. But if this person is seen to be causing harm to themselves and harm to others, they cannot be pleased to be working with the public, because nursing profession, once you're working with the public or you're a public sector worker, we are big on safety and protecting the public. Now, we're going to bring it back home where somebody commented and said that if this happened in Jamaica, she would have gone on to do this and nothing would have come out of this. But I have to stick a pin right there, because a whole heap of pin on that cushion. For me personally, she may have been able to gain access into the nursing profession back in Jamaica, but she wouldn't have the ability to get it with all of that so long. Wouldn't. We have our problems and our issues back home in our country, but trust me, nurse managers and sisters, they don't play. They don't play, especially in Jamaica. If you're on a nurse manager or sister unit back home and she hear that you're not doing something right or underperforming or not working properly, and she call in your office and talk to you about it and you're not listening to her and still doing that, baby, you're going to be through the door. Meaning that she's going to move you to a different unit and she's going to report it to a nurse, the supervisor that is over her, and the department managers and the hospital administrations. Next to that, back home, we have sisters and we have nurse managers. And when they are not working, they always leave somebody in place that can run the unit. And those persons have the sisters and the nurse managers' number. So if anything is happening and sister happen not to be at work that day, or it is even 12 o'clock in the middle of the night, she's going to get a call. And if she hears something out of control on her unit, just knows the sister find her way to come on that unit and solve everything before it get out of control. So I personally don't believe this nurse could have been, could have happened in Jamaica, but to this extent without nurse managers and supervisors jumping in to stop it, and make it even worse that consultant reported it and nothing comes out and she was able to be placed back on the unit. Come on. Come on. As I said before, something fell short internally and something was not done right. And a lot of people have to be will be asked to give account for why this happening. That's why an independent inquiry will have to take place. As I said before, Jamaica has its problems, and I know that we're not always with the best of certain stuff, but I have to give credit to where it is due. Coming from back home, working in Jamaica, when you look at management, based on my experience, I have to say the management styles back home when it comes to managing their unit with the different sisters, top tier. Top tier, let me tell you, based on my personal experience. Certain stuff like this would not be able to happen. And next to that, I said before, the nursing profession is closed. Nurses talk. We know which nurse is incompetent. We know which doctors are incompetent because you see, are even competent because you see how they work. Because even nurses say, "Oh, if I'm sick, I don't want that person over me." All of that. So how is this lady went to work every day and was able to do this and harm the babies under her care? We all sit together at nurse's station. We work together. We walk into supplies room together. Somebody must have known something. But and then again, we have to bear in mind what is the culture of reporting on that unit. How is it that you report if you see something not being done right? What are the different chains that you have to go through without facing backlash or sabotage? There must be a system that you could make a tip or report anonymously that something is being happening. This is not only on the nurse's shoulder, but also we have to look at it to see if the institution, the hospital, and also the co-workers and the management of that unit failed those seven babies also. It is a sad case and it is quite alarming. And I strongly believe that this will become a precedence, meaning that you set precedents for changes to come in the near future. Not only just in the UK, because the news is all over the world. And you may say, "Oh, I'm a nurse, but I'm not in the UK," but it affects the entire profession. I strongly believe that changes will be made with regards to that hospital and also in terms of reporting and all of that once they do that independent inquiry. But it's a sad case, and my heart goes out to the mothers and the families that have been affected by this. And I hope this doesn't happen again in the near future. And this goes back to show us the importance of, working together and also the importance of the different code of ethics. Do no harm, justice, doing the greatest good to the greatest number of people. And the next thing that we need to know that mental illness, it's real. And you can't just look at people and think that because they're in a particular job that they're not mentally ill. You can't look at the clothing that they wear to say that they're mentally ill. Yeah, mental illness is all over and it's a thin line between stable and unstable. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. What you guys think about this? What do you think will come out of this situation and the changes that will take place? What are your comments and thoughts with regards to the entire case? What are some other things you think I could have talked about or missed about the case that it was very important? Drop it in the comment section below. And thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.